Good evening, community. Calling the Antioch Police Oversight Commission to order. It is Monday, March 17th at, I'm blind, 6:31 p.m. Can we please stand for roll call?
Commissioner Lacey Oha,
Present.
Commissioner Haddon,
Present.
Vice Chair Williams,
Present.
Chair Taylor.
Present.
We have a quorum with all present.
And can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? On to the consent calendar, the approval of minutes from February 3rd, 2025, and of the no quorum for March 10th special meeting. Is there a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from February 3rd and March 10th.
Is there a second?
I'm sorry, would like to ask that we vote on separately on both dates for February 3rd and March 10th.
No problem.
If we may do that, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So for February 3rd, is there a motion? Or do we need to recall the
I would
motion
like
that
to
was
make a
already-
motion to approve the minutes from the February 3rd meeting.
Second.
Okay, can we vote, please?
Motion to approve the minutes from February 3rd passes 4-0.
Thank you.
I would like to make a motion.
Oh,
Sorry,
go ahead.
sorry, Chair.
Do your thing.
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 10th meeting that had no quorum.
I second.
The motion to approve the no quorum for March 10th passes 3-0-1 with Commissioner Lacey Oha abstaining from the vote.
That means it does not pass.
Okay,
There has to
so
be,
it
it would have to be a majority vote.
Okay, so then no, it
So
does not pass.
the vote does not pass.
Okay.
So should we go into discussion in regards to the meeting or the special meeting? No quorum?
The only thing I would like to say is that from this day forward,
So I think that the proper thing to do would have been to pull the item from the consent calendar. But I think kind of as a curative measure, what could be done is it can open it up for discussion on that item, which means that first it would have to be public comment, then there can be discussion from the commissioners. Then you can decide whether or not you would like to make another motion once that's been heard. I don't know if it will change it. I don't know what the comment is going to be, but I think that would be the best way to address the issue.
Absolutely. We can open it up for public comment then.
I have not received any public comment cards for this particular item.
And because it wasn't, like,
Yes.
feel free.
Okay.
Mhm.
I would just like to say that, if we do not approve these minutes, I would like to get some understanding from the Assistant City Attorney whether they will go into the public record or not. Is the approval of those minutes meaning that for future agendas that will need to come back, or whether they will go into the public record showing that there was a vote not to accept the minutes? Just looking for some clarity. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Okay. And discussion? Go ahead, I think, Commissioner Oha.
I would just like to state that I understand that we only have 4 commissioners. And I was disappointed that we did not meet on March 10th. And I understand that the situation, I really do. But I would just ask from this day forward that we stick to our meeting dates. Because we had a meeting scheduled for March 3rd. That was canceled because we were meeting on March 10th, and we did not meet on March 10th. So I just ask from this day forward that we stick with our meeting dates. And I also will ask that as soon as we have 2 commissioners appointed, that we vote to have alternates, an alternate chair and an alternate vice chair. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay. Now that that has been stated, can we move forward with the motion to approve the March 10th quorum meeting minutes?
I would like to make a motion to approve the March 10th meeting minutes.
I second.
The motion to approve the minutes from March 10th passes 4-0.
Thank you. On to new business. Acting Chief V. Hill will report out.
Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening, Kevin. I'll just give us a quick staffing update and kind of talk about what we're projected to be at in the next couple of months. Currently, we are sitting at 82 sworn police officers, with 7 of those being in training and 10 of them off on some type of injury that would preclude them from working. Nobody is on admin leave. We have 5 CSO vacancies, 2 records vacancies, 3 dispatch vacancies. The good news is Human Resources has given us several lists to work off of. In the next couple of weeks, we'll be trying to move people through the process to get hired. That being said, the city and police department is hiring for a host of positions, sworn and non-sworn. So if anybody is looking for a job or a level up, feel free to look at the city's website. We are slotted to have 3 recruits graduate the Alameda County Sheriff's Academy next month, followed by 3 graduating from the Contra Costa Academy in May, and 2 more in September. We also have 3 starting the Contra Costa Academy next month. And we have recently, in the last week and a half, given out 5 conditional job offers to police candidates. That's all I have.
Questions?
I'll come find you.
It's on. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, public comment.
Yeah, any public comment received? Absolutely.
Leslie May?
I have to get those numbers back. Good evening, everyone. I'm just, we have 82 sworn and 10 injuries. I was wondering, are those, so that would be 72, but we've got 3, 6, 9, 10 coming out, 3, 6, no, don't, Leslie, come on and add. 8 coming out. Then I just guess I wanted to hear those numbers again. They said 5 CSO. How many, I guess we have openings for police officers until we get to the 115. And I guess that's the question I want to know is, are we still shooting for the 115?
Andrew?
Thank you. I apologize if I was outside during part of the report out, but was wondering if we could get some more clarity, the public and maybe the commission could get some more clarity around the breakdown of the sworn officers, senior down to patrol, and then looking for a report out on investigations and getting an understanding of what the capacity load is there and whether the department is moving to build out those departments or kind of where they're at. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Questions, discussion?
For Acting Chief Vigil, I did have a question about the capacity numbers for the police department. Is there a ceiling that you guys have? Where should our numbers, what are we reaching towards?
We're taking it incrementally in steps. Obviously, we're limited by how many people HR can process, how many people we can get into the FTO program, how many people we can get into a police academy. So we are limited in that sense. But we are entertaining all options when it comes to, if it's entry-level personnel, utilizing more than our area academies to fulfill that need. It's been no secret we have utilized academies as far north as Butte and have entertained as far south as Riverside just to meet our staffing need. So it's more so a capacity for HR and what we can do in terms of getting people through the process. And I think we've talked about it before, but it's not simply just, hey, I applied and then they're hired and they go to the academy. It's very rigorous. You're talking maybe 6 to 7 months to get someone hired into an academy that's 6 months long, and then for them to come back and hit a 4 to 6 month FTO. So in terms of hiring for entry level, we won't see that person count towards our sworn numbers till they come back from the academy and go into FTO. But more importantly, when you talk about capacity and what we can do in terms of boosting investigations, putting people in traffic or specialty units until the numbers come up, that's what gives us the capacity to do more in those areas. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. I was just looking for like an exact number, but since that's, been, yeah.
Yeah, there is no exact number. We are pretty much on a daily, weekly basis reassessing the numbers and seeing how we can best utilize the personnel and move people around. We just made a notification early last week, adding another person to investigations based on people coming off of training, off of FTO. So that's kind of how we are looking at the personnel when people get cut loose from training. What does the capacity look like to expand other areas of the police department? And if I can touch on Andrew's question, we're continually looking at it, expanding all of our ancillary and other, I don't want to call them side, but like investigations, traffic, constantly looking at that number and looking how we can best utilize our personnel to move them around. In terms of, we don't look at seniority in terms of, when you talk about seniority, you talk about longevity. So when we break down the organization, we don't do it in terms of how long someone has been there. We do it in terms of position. So administration and then the officer level. So your admin right now, and we'll be giving a full presentation tomorrow night at City Council about all the positions top to bottom between now and the next fiscal. 1 chief, 2 captains, 6 lieutenants, 11 sergeants, 7 corporals, and the rest are officers that are utilized throughout the organization in various different roles. So in terms of staffing, full-time, permanent, obviously there's no chief right now. There's 2 captains, 3 lieutenants, 6, and I'm on the spot trying to think, 7 sergeants, 6 corporals, 7 corporals. And then the rest would be patrol, investigations, traffic unit.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. No other questions, right, commissioners? All right. Moving on to item 4-2, the Antioch Police Oversight Commission meetings. I think the highlight of everyone's evening. Is there any public comment?
Yes, I have two public speaker cards. First would be Leslie May.
Okay. Good evening. I had to collect my thoughts. I had a lot of thoughts about this. I think that this commission needs to continue meeting on bi-weekly. It's very important, and I don't think maybe you don't understand how important this is. I went to a meeting. They said that Antioch, California is the catalyst for the United States, the entire United States. This was a meeting I went to Wednesday. They said, though, the United States is watching us, but they said the world is watching us. But Antioch, California had the worst cases ever. So this commission is most important to meet, show up, I say show out in terms of the work that is produced. It's already known that there is a problem because of the Black African American people that are on this commission. That's been a problem since we were sworn in. I'm no longer a commissioner, but since the day we were sworn in. So I want this to be a commission which proves that we can do the work. We can do it without interference by political people because it's supposed to be politically free. And that we can produce outcomes which the world will be looking at us, which the United States will be looking at us. At this meeting was people from all over the United States at this meeting, public defenders, all kinds of people, statisticians, and they all gave reports about how important this commission is. If we're not going to work together, then bye. Just give your resignation. I was forced to give mine, or I'd still be sitting in that chair. But other than that, do the work so it could show and prove that Black people, along with whoever else comes on here, can be productive. We need to be Antioch's Jasmine Crockett's. We need to be Antioch's Jasmine Crockett's. So I implore you to continue with these meetings. Everybody work. Everybody should have a chance to work on this police policy and manual like it started out to be. Nobody's bigger than the other person. We all work together. So try this time to be the ultimate family. Thank you.
Next, we have Tiki Flo.
Hi. Yes, my name is Tiki Flo. I think we all were heartbroken that we didn't have our commission meeting, and a lot of it stemmed from the council trying to dismantle, I say us all together because, you know, we as a community walked the streets and came here and stood right before our city council and asked that our police officers be held accountable. So this work that you guys are so graciously doing for us, we really, really appreciate it, and it's really, really important to us. So when we show up, you know, we want you guys to show up and we want you guys to fight for us. Now it's, I'm just gonna be honest, it just felt like y'all gave in. They said dismantle, and you guys said, okay, we agree. Or pause or whatever, and it just felt like all the work that we done for a community, you know, it was just like F us, like, oh, well, they said we could, you know, it was hurtful. So I'm just speaking for the community, you know, for African Americans. Y'all didn't stand for us. It was like, okay, sure. And then now we have people, let me calm down. Once again, we are so, as far as we go, Reimagine Antioch, Tiki Flow, we are passionate about this committee and this commission, and I would beg you guys literally to stop doing the work. I mean, not stop doing the work, do the work. And when we do get 3 more people in, make sure that they can do the work. Make sure it's non-biased. Make sure that they're holding our police officers accountable. Just do the work. Once again, thank you for your time and your efforts and the things that you have done so far, but I will beg you again to please fight for your community before hands up. That's all I ask.
Next speaker, Nicole Gardner.
Jeez. So I just wanted to come up here and say that I agree with everything Tiki just said. I've seen at city council meetings, Devin, you start to speak and then I can't say, should I not say something? I've seen you be here sitting on the dais or actually going to city council meetings, and it was really, I'm not even gonna go there, but it was, I felt a type of way, you know what I mean, because our councilwoman came up here to speak her mind about her concerns about the commission, but yet you felt the need to do the same at her council meeting about your concerns. I don't think anybody had a problem with that. I think my reason for saying that is that politics can be so messy. It really can. I believe in each and every one of you. What you do for the community, what you do, is it Prison from the Inside Out? What you do for the community, what you've done with ACE, what you've done with the renters' rights, what you do in the community as a religious and church leader, as a Christian, you are strong leader. I don't know much about you, Treva, I'm sorry. But sure, strong leaders in this community. And I have been there when the politicians whisper in your ear and make it seem as though you're doing, or shut you up, and make you feel as though you can't be yourself, you can't advocate. That's why I had an issue about the Tamisha situation, because I felt as though you were saying she can't be the person or the advocate that she wants to be, or even express her concerns because she's up there on city council. I don't think any one of you should think like that. And I pray, because I have been there where the politicians have shut me up. I've been there too and said, they ain't gonna shut me up. Please, I have my own mind, my own thoughts. But yeah, it's that whisper in your ear. You know what I mean? It's that whisper in your ear to say, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, or hey, maybe you should do this because it would be better. It happens, and it's evil. It really is. I'm telling you, I've been there. And I have shut up and not spoken up when I really should have. That will never happen again. And I just pray to God, because politics is really evil when it really boils down to it, that it does not affect you guys the way that it affected me. And then you just keep your head up, stay strong. And the community, we need y'all. I personally believe in each and every one of you. And we do not need them to be telling y'all what to do. Speak for yourself. Have your own morals, your own values, and speak for the community, because you guys have always done that. I have faith in y'all. That's all I got to say.
Next speaker is Susan Kennedy.
Good evening, Chair Taylor, members of the commission. Thank you all for the work that you have done over the course of the last year. I believe that on the 14th, y'all celebrated your 1-year anniversary as actually, being a body, and that's when the ordinance was passed. I'd actually like to encourage you to strongly consider what has been referred to as a pause, but that I would suggest is really more of a reset or a reboot. At this point, we need to get the open seats filled. Not only do those seats need to be filled, those people need to be trained. That's not something that can happen just on the fly. I think that Ms. May made a valid point earlier when she said, we're being watched. And we are being watched, but one of the things I think we have to remember is that we now have a Department of Justice agreement. This commission is codified in that commission, or excuse me, in that agreement. It is not going anywhere. However, if we think that the Department of Justice is not observing what is and isn't happening, and the fact that this commission is not at what I guess I would call a full strength, that is going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for the commission. It's going to be a problem to fulfill the objectives and the requirements that are in that agreement. And there is a role for this commission to play. So I think that we have to look at really truly what is best for the commission, which then in turn is going to ultimately be the best thing for the community. Having 7 chairs filled, having those people fully aware of what their role is, how they can be effective, and how they can make Antioch a better place, and how we can work to make our police department effective and serving all of our community across the board. Thank you again for the work that you do and for the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Erica?
Good evening, Commissioner. I'm talking as a community member. I want to commend you on the work you guys have done. Like I said, you guys have had, this is a year now, you've come into a year, and we as a community are very grateful, because as a community, we worked hard to get this commission. As a community, we walked the streets. As a community, we had to deal with the police not liking the fact that we are protested, even though we have freedom of speech to protest, and trying to get us to question us or quiet us and make us not. But we fought hard to get this commission. And again, like everyone else said, we do have a lot of people right now. Every day I turn the news on, Antioch is in the news, because we have police officers now that are on trial for the atrocities that they did to the community. And so, and then you turn on CNN or you turn on MSNBC, and they're talking about Antioch and about the commission, about this and the other. So we do have a lot of eyes that are watching us. And again, like what she said about the DOJ, you guys aren't going anywhere. That is in there. Anybody can read it. I've read it so many times till my eyes are hurting. So this, as a community for us, is our strength. This is what we need as a community to heal, because there's a lot still. And all of that wounds are being opened up again because of the fact we have these police on, and the fact that they're exposing and telling all this stuff, and more stuff is coming out. More and more things. People that, were trying to keep things, trying to deal with it. Now it's being out in the public. So that makes us, like I said, have eyes on us and not just everyone looking at us. So this right here, to heal us, to keep this going is important. And to say, oh, you're going to squash it, or you're going to keep, you're going to just pause it, that put a hurt into the community. Because that's like saying, okay, your feelings are not important. We're just going to go ahead and go with what the man wants us to do. No, that's not what we built this for. We built this for community because we are trying to heal. It's bad enough that we have certain people that have chosen to get their positions however way they chose to and decided to do their little deeds. And of course, as everything says, what's done in the dark will come to light. And so now, people that have voted for these people and seen what's going on, now all of a sudden they're starting to change their mind, but there's nothing they can do about it. You did it, you voted for it, you got to deal with it. But in the meantime, for us as a community, we need to heal. And we need this here to keep going in order for us to be what we need to be, a community. Thank you.
That completes the public comments.
Thank you. As we open up for discussion, I definitely want to just address a few points, and then I'll pass on to commissioners, unless you had something to say first. Perfect. Okay. First, want to address the pause in the initial discussion about what that looked like, because so many comments have been made And I want community to understand that this was not something that was meant to make you feel unheard. Before former Commissioner Mays resigned, we set up here as a full commission of what we are comprised of, and we had a conversation about us receiving training. And that conversation led to, well, what does that look like? And when I, as chair, said, well, we need robust training, when we went to NACOL, both Commissioner Haddon, both Commissioner Oha could not attend, neither could Commissioner May, former Commissioner May. And so I said, if we all have to get the training that we need, because we weren't able to receive any as a commission, if I speak frankly, then what would that look like? How much time could the city put into that? And the time that they agreed to put into that would be necessary for us to either pause and or go down to one meeting per month so that we can actually participate in that training. And in the background, myself and co-chair would be continuing the work that we have been doing with the Lexipol policy writing group. And then our other commissioners would have continued to do community engagement. And I think that never got explained fully to community. So it may have been received as if we were walking away from the work, when in fact we were trying to enhance the work. And as chair, then I shall take credit for it not being explained to community properly. But in no way, shape, or form are any of us here, I think, attempting to neglect this work or neglect the feelings of you all as community. And then I'll step back and anybody who wants to speak can.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Good. Thank you for being here tonight. I will say just. Oh, I thought you wanted to say something. Oh, sorry. Did you want to go first, Commissioner Haddon? Okay. I just wanted to say that my best intention every time I show up here and outside of the work that you guys get to see is always community led, and I want to make sure that as much input is led by the community. I'll never stop fighting for y'all. Things may look a little messy up here, but we are doing things in the background. If you guys, I've mentioned it before, but Lexipol, we are working every Thursday with representatives from Lexipol and APD to make sure that we rewrite the policy best, the best practices for Antioch Police Department. You know, I just want to say also that there might be some mix-up of, like, you know, how Chair Taylor was just saying, like, we didn't want to make we're here for the best intentions, basically. You know, I want to make sure that the community knows that. All right. We stay on the agenda. Yeah, we're not doing a pause, or we're discussing that tonight. So, thank you guys all for being here.
Commissioner Haddon.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. This is not that loud. Okay. And you don't know much about me because I don't speak much. Sorry. So I will tell a little bit about myself now. With over 20 years of experience in law enforcement, I have served in critical roles focused on personnel assessment, internal affairs, and ethics investigations, each dedicated to strengthening accountability, transparency, and integrity within public institutions. My work has included conducting in-depth investigations into allegations of misconduct, analyzing case facts and personnel records to identify performance trends, and recommending corrective actions on policy changes. As a commissioner on APOC, I bring this expertise to civilian oversight, advocating for fair and effective policing reforms. For this reason, taking into consideration what everyone said, I will be voting no on the proposed pause. As I do believe it's imperative that the Commission's work continues uninterrupted to uphold its mission of independent oversight and public accountability. Say independent of political pressures is what I'm saying. It's no secret that the mayor in office and certain council members do not want the APOC to exist. Yet we have individuals here engaging in personal matters with our city council, mayor. And then another one that followed the mayor's directive to oust former Commissioner Leslie May. So this commission, as I said, was created to help the community rise for future office. And as a true professional, I remain committed to the mission, and I know that my former fellow commissioners, Mahogany Spears, Harry Thurston, and Leslie May, are of the same mindset. Myself, along with the other names just mentioned, did not join APOC for political ambitions. We joined because the work speaks to us, and because you, the community, deserve genuine and effective oversight. So I would like, as many of you, to continue without a pause, whether that means going to one time a month meeting and getting trainings in between. I'm fine with that. I just want us to continue implementing the critical changes. I ask the community to carefully consider who truly has their best interests at heart. The APOC must remain independent from political influence and committed to its mission of ensuring accountability and transparency in policing. I'll continue to stand firm in upholding these principles, and I encourage my fellow commissioners to do the same. Thank you.
Go ahead, Commissioner Oha, and can we please stay focused on what the topic is? Thank you. That is the topic outside of the resume reading and outside of the attacks on your fellow commissioners.
Okay, let me speak. First, let me say that I have the best interests, the city of Antioch, in its best interests. So I'm not sitting up here for no political gain to become city councilwoman, to become the mayor, the next mayor of Antioch. I am sitting up here because God called me to do this work. Now, I am disturbed that people will put false narratives out there about the commissioners, that the mayor is talking in our ear, because I heard that the mayor been talking in my ear. No, the only person who's been talking in my ear is God. And when I come here, before I come here, I pray and I ask God for peace, and I ask God to help me speak truth to power. When we did not have a meeting on March 10th, I was disturbed, and I'm still disturbed, because we all go through things in life. I have a son right now who's incarcerated at San Francisco County
Commissioner
Jail.
Oha,
But I have
I'm
to finish.
so sorry to interrupt you, but this is outside of our agenda topic. So we're gonna get back on topic, okay?
I'm here because I am here for the best interest of you all.
Thank you.
Whatever was said in the past is the past. Let's move forward. Please, let's move forward. Thank you, Commissioner Taylor.
So what I heard from Commissioner Haddon is that she is for a transition to 1 meeting per month versus 2. However, she is not in agreement with the pause. Commissioner Oha, you did not take a stance on anything as you shared.
Yeah, okay, let me say this. Right now, the way things are going, I am going to have to abstain.
On what we're asking?
On taking a pause.
Right, so how do you feel about changing the meeting from twice per month to once per month?
No, it needs to stay the way it is.
Okay.
It really does. It needs to
So
remain
you are not
the
for
way
it
it
either?
was. Yes.
Okay.
I'm not voting to change the number of times we meet per month, because at this critical point, we need to meet twice a month.
And Commissioner Williams?
Interesting evening. I will say that because of the work that we do, that is not shown to the public. I know that we're working, and we want to make sure that all of our commissioners work. if the community feels that we need 2 meetings a month until we get our seats filled, that's fine. I just think that right now we have to figure out some things. I do think that we should move to 1 meeting because there's not a lot to report out since, we have the settlement agreement. We want to make sure that we all have an understanding of the work we're doing, and we need training, of course, and we need funding to come our way to make sure that we can get the proper training. I honestly feel that we'll be okay with 2 meetings a month, but things happen, and I'm a little on the fence about this, right, to be honest. I think that with your leadership, if we do 2 meetings a month, I want to make sure that they're efficient, basically. And and I don't want to show up here and just do the same thing over and over,
Yeah, I think what the real issue is right now, because both myself and Chair Taylor, but Co-Chair Williams are doing the work every week, meeting in the background with Lexipol, rewriting the policy handbook. We haven't had the opportunity yet to reestablish our ad hocs, which would then give our other commissioners work. I'm also in the background assisting with the interview process for the new commissioners, and then onboarding them and hoping that they get more training than what we got, which is why our commission has had such a hard time getting to where we are now. If we continue to meet twice per month, yes, myself and co-chair will have a robust report out, but until we get the ad hocs reformulated, basically, they will not have anything essentially to report out, because as it stands right now, they're not currently assigned to many tasks. And that's kind of how that sits until we do that, which could happen at the next meeting. And then they would be able to do things assigned under those ad hocs, versus if we had 1 meeting, we all would be able to come with a robust report out. And if community believes that, community and the commissioners up here believe that they still would like to sit and come here and have very little to report out, then I'm okay with that. Me personally, I think the smartest thing to do would go to 1 meeting per month. And that's temporary. That is not ongoing. That would be very temporary until we get our training complete and until we have other commissioners.
Chair, there was some concern about the length of a pause, I think, for folks. Do you have a exact timeline of when we would be paused for?
So if we're going back into discussing the pause, I did send out an email to all council members requesting, and city staff requesting, a robust training list in a time frame that we would have been able to discuss here. However, they did not provide that yet. So, in agreement with you all, I would currently say the pause would be off the table.
Okay, well, for me, if it came down to it, the pause would be on the table for me. Because right now, we need to get our act together. We really do. I mean, meetings have been canceled so many times until it's sad. And that's what frustrates
Just to rewind,
me
I thought the
most.
pause was off the table for you.
Well, but we had a conversation, and I stated that I am not going to vote to go on a pause.
Right, so it's off the table for you, right?
I am not going to vote yes. Well, let me put it this way. Let me explain myself clearly. I'm not going to vote no at this point. Okay. At this point. First of all, we need to get the those 4 or 3 commissioners appointed We need to get those appointed situated first, then move forward. So instead of us having one meeting a month, which I am against, I say, let's go on a pause, a temporary pause.
Okay.
When we come back, 2 meetings a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, I just want to make
Yeah.
sure I hear you correct.
Yeah.
And I also want to state for community too, because I think that was a little confusing, but how you just explained it
Yes.
made it more clear.
Okay.
I do want to explain to community that interviews have started. However, us as commissioners do not control the interview process. We are not scheduling interviews. We are not doing any of that. If you guys are seeing issues with that, please bring it up at council meetings because that's beyond our control. Now, with that being said, I guess we are talking about a pause again. Although it seems that Commissioner Haddon, myself, Commissioner Williams, I don't know what your hard stance was, but for me, if we are going to continue to discuss the pause, I would like to give the council members the opportunity to answer the question about how long we're going to be paused and what, in fact, training will be enrolled in during the pause. Because if we don't have that kind of structured schedule, our pause could be longer than what we all want. And I just want to make sure before we agree to something like that, that we do have a structured plan in place. Because as community mentioned, it's not something that they are interested in seeing. Go ahead.
Oh, so I will say that a pause puts us in an interesting spot, like where our ordinance can be rewritten. People will choose to have more governance over our body of work, and I don't think because of the settlement agreement, I feel like we should keep meeting.
I just want to clarify
Okay.
that if you were at the last city council meetings, they already voted to change our ordinance. So what we're doing here is not going to affect that either way. They are already going to do that. And so us pausing and or not has absolutely no effect on that. They already voted to do that. They're going to do that. And I'm sorry, y'all. They voted to do that. They're going to do that. What we're doing. No, they voted to at the last city council.
You can't respond. Don't respond.
Oh, no. I think you misunderstood what I'm talking about. You're talking about the pause. I'm talking about the ordinance. Yeah, so they did vote to amend the ordinance. Yes, they did. They could not pause us because we have the authority to do that ourselves. But they did, because they learned that they could not pause us, they then discussed changing the ordinance.
Yeah, and that's what we're here to do tonight,
Correct.
too, is to revamp our ordinance the best way that okay, I got it. Thank you.
So, with that being said, if we were to pause, that would be a decision based on us. And also, if we were to decide to go to one meeting per month, that would also only be something that we could vote on as a recommendation to then take to council for them to vote on, because again, it would change our ordinance.
I would just like to make one quick correction. At the city council meeting, there was a vote directing staff to bring forward proposed amendments to the ordinance. There has the ordinance as it currently exists is still effective. There has been no change made at this time. At some point,
That is what I said as well.
yeah, at some point, a amended ordinance will be presented to the council, at which point it's going to go through the normal ordinance procedure, which is usually, it'll be noticed, there'll be a public hearing on the first reading, there will be community input, council will make directions. If they choose to accept the ordinance as is, it'll come back for a second reading. If they want changes made, they will direct staff to make changes. But that's still the process, and we've just at the very, very beginning stage of it, which is the direction to work on a proposed amendment change. But the change or a decision to change the ordinance has not actually happened yet.
So, just for clarification for the community, at the last city council, they agreed to have you, our city attorney, redraft proposed amendments to then bring back to the council for reading, correct?
Well, the direction from city council was to work on a new amendment, yes, and then depending on what happens with that. But as I said, no decision has been made on that. It could be, I don't even want to necessarily say what the council may do, because I'm not privy to the information, but that just kind of reiterates the point that there was direction given to staff to work on a new ordinance, but no decision has been made as to a new ordinance as of yet.
Thank you.
I just think it's safe to assume that it's not going to be in our best interest. I'm just saying.
No comments.
Are you a reporter, Susan? Oh, I was just saying that I don't think it's in their best interest to have us have enough weight on this commission that we can actually do what we need to do, operate the way we need to do our work. There's been assumptions that there was a power to pause from the commission, councils. I'm just saying, like, we're here to do the work. We should have our own ideas of doing it, and we should be an independent body and have recommendations made to council. And I'm just assuming that the current council, because they want to not overextend their reach publicly, but they might use that opportunity to do such. And you know, me being on here, I was stomping the streets. Let's get the commission started. Let's do all that. I'm not gonna have somebody take it away from the community. I don't need an applause for that. I don't. I'm just saying that if we decide to pause, there might be there might be an opportunity for them to
There may be some backlash.
There's going to be backlash because of what I'm saying right now. So I'm just saying, like, let's be strategic on how we do this.
And I think that's why the next agenda item is super important. It's exactly what we're talking about now, which is our ordinance. So hearing Commissioner Oha, hearing Commissioner Williams, hearing Commissioner Haddon, although I know Commissioner Oha, you are not opposed to pausing right now, but I do believe in just playing that situation wise, and we can bring that back up after we get the response from City Council so that we know exactly what their plans are in a timeline for that pause. Because we can say we want a temporary pause for, filling the seats, and yes, we have that authority and that power, but as been said, they are also working on amending our ordinance, which could change the authority of our power.
So I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go forward with our meetings, the only thing I ask is that we make sure we stick with our meeting dates and times.
Understood.
Because the moment we start canceling due to lack of quorum, then, that's going to be an issue.
Yes,
Everything is
understood.
already an issue right now. So, yeah, so.
And I'm also not opposed to the folks, the interims, basically, as having follow-up commissioners. That's a conversation that has been had in the background with the former city attorney, and so I agree. So is it safe to say that we are all okay with currently going to one meeting per month? Or a recommendation of going to one meeting per month? Commissioners?
I ask that we, that it remains where it is right now,
Okay.
twice a month.
And Commissioner Williams?
I mean, you know, it's really hard for me to say, but I do, sorry if you guys can't hear me. I think if we do go to one meeting a month, we do need a definite timeline of like how long that's gonna be. Whether it's 2 months, 3 months, I just think that the public should know before we move forward with pausing our 2 meetings a month. It'll make me feel better, and it'll also give like some sort of structure to, you know, the public and the council. So if we say, let's pause until we get the commissioners' seats filled, I think that'd be fine. How do you feel about that?
But can I ask a question? Do we know where, do you have an update where we are in terms of the interviews? Are we getting ready to, well, whoever's doing the interviewing, are they getting ready to make a selection? See, and that's another problem right there.
That again is not in my control. Like I have
Yeah,
participated in the interviews, but the commissioners are at the council's will.
Yeah.
They make that decision. I have no clue what they have going on over there.
Yes, because
so.
how long is it going to take the city council to make the selections?
Yeah,
Because the interviews I know started, what, a week or two ago?
correct.
So are they going to drag it out for as long as they want to?
Don't
'Cause
know.
yeah,
And that's
can't have
another
that.
reason why it's like imperative. You know, I don't know personally,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's imperative for us to have the discussion around what we're doing with our meetings, because I don't know. We do not know, and there's no way for us to know.
So with that being said, because I've been sitting up here thinking, and I've been thinking ever since the last time you and I talked,
Mhm.
and I'm looking out for the best interests of the city and our community members who come here faithfully.
Mhm.
Let's continue.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Commissioner Haddon, you took your stance. Do you have anything else to add?
Nope, I said what I said, so I would like to continue.
Sounds like me. I said what I said. All right. So do we have a? Do we need to motion? Mm-hmm.
So if there was, since it seems like there's going to be there's going to be no motion to change the scheduling of the meetings, I don't believe a motion would be necessary because
Okay.
nothing is being changed. However, if this was something you wanted to bring back up at a future meeting, there could be a motion to table this item until a future meeting, if the commission so wanted to do that. I'm not sure what the will of the commission is. I'm just kind of saying
Thank
that would
you.
be a possible option. Otherwise,
Okay.
otherwise, I think the proper procedure would be to just
Move forward.
to move forward. There would be no motion made, so there would be no change to the there'd be no change to the makeup of the or not the makeup of the meetings, to the scheduling of the meetings.
Excuse me, Assistant City Attorney. We have some keys that were found. Anybody can claim those? Okay. All right. Thank you, Chief E. Hill.
Thank you. So we're all in agreement that we are going to continue, or do we want to table this for future?
Let's move forward.
I say let's move forward because, and I'm gonna tell you why. We don't know where the city council is with the interviews for the commissioners, and that could drag on to the end of this year. So, right. So, you know, we have to move forward, and we cannot, and I thought about it, we cannot be put in a position where we cannot meet at all. And because I feel it could be going in that direction. Now that I think about it, it could be going in that direction if we go on this pause. Now, it was stated the pause would be until June of this year. I can't, I don't trust that right now.
Right,
I
and we're
really
not only
don't.
considering the pause, we are considering shifting from 2 meetings to 1 meeting, just to
Right,
make sure
and-
we're clear.
Right, and I think we need to,
Have 2.
yes.
All right, so I think we agreed to keep as is, so we can move on to the next agenda item. Yes? All right, we don't have to vote because it is as is. So 4-3, discussion on the ordinance. Is there any public comment?
Yes, Tiki Flo?
I'm disturbed. I really am. I am disturbed. But how do they even get the right to rewrite an ordinance? How do they even get the right to come in and say we're gonna do this? And nobody stands up and say, y'all cannot do this to our people. What part is that not under? I don't understand. They cannot do this. Tell them they do not have the right to do that. That's all we're saying. I appreciate y'all keeping the meetings going, and I appreciate it. That discussion sent me through a whole, I didn't know where y'all was going with it. But thank you. But this ordinance, like, what can they change? For instance, they can go in there and change a meeting date, or they can go in there and change what you guys supposed to report on, or some policies. Where in the ordinance says that they can do that? Somebody tell me, why am I hearing different information? Do we have independent? Is this commission independent, or do we run by the hands of the council, who, by the way, do not want the Antioch Police Commission? They do not want us here. So why are we taking our cues from them? I'm not understanding. Why are we taking our cues from people who keep saying, yes, go with the pause, when they allowed the freaking Antioch police to do what the heck they wanted to do for all this time? I'm not understanding. They get to come in here and change all this nonsense, but nobody held anybody accountable. Nobody, up until now. And now we're making too much noise? That's bullcrap. This whole city is bullcrap. Truth to power. Stand truth to power. Stand up for us. They do not have the right to do this. Why would you go in and rewrite an ordinance? What does it matter to them? They want power but no accountability. That's bullcrap. But they'll go in the corner of Cavallo and lock everybody up, saying they got to be held accountable for littering in front of somebody's business. Man up. Put y'all big panty drawers on and tell them they don't have the right to do this.
Nicole? Who wants to go first? Leslie May?
So I'm going to treat this as a pulpit. When this ordinance was written, and I wish past Mayor Lamar Tharp Hernandez had been invited here to speak tonight. That would have been perfect, and I hope maybe he'll be invited to the next meeting to speak on this ordinance. When this ordinance was written, it was written to be free from political input, free from political bias, free from everything. In other words, they don't have the right to come in here and change. No politicians, no sitting, whatever they want to call themselves, none of the council have a right to come in here and change anything. Now, he did say that we serve at the leisure of the council. That's what it said. But in this ordinance, and I've been through this thing 50 million times, sat with the attorney at my office and went through it, and he said, this is ironclad. They don't have any business touching this ordinance. Now the commissioners can say, well, you know, we want to change this. I agree with Commissioner Lacey Oha that there should be alternates, just like the city council has an alternate. We need alternate people in here. Because if somebody gets sick with RSV or anything, Commissioner Haddon was very ill. There was nobody in place to take her place that could be her voting person. So we do need alternates. And I do agree with that. But in terms of rewriting and giving these orders, no. And especially when the now sitting mayor was the city manager, when the police did all this dirt, they were doing all kinds of dirt, and he was the only person over the police department. He allowed it to happen. He could lie like a dog and say he did, and I'm serious. My right hand to Jesus, you let it happen. And as I said at a meeting the other day, I know for a fact some things, but I'm taking it to my grave. I do not like him, but because it was said to me the way it was said to me, I got to take that to my grave, which is a bitter pill to swallow, or I could destroy him. I'm saying, stand on your ground. Like she said, put your big bloomers on. Stand on the ground and be like, no, we will not be moved. You cannot touch this ordinance, or we will bring in some lawsuits, because I'm ready. I got my stuff ready. All I got to do is put the pen to the paper to sue the hell out of this city. Thank you.
Nicole Gardner?
Hi again. I've been confused as I don't know what sitting up here. It kind of seems like what I just said before, kind of, some people have already been influenced. That's just an outsider looking in. I appreciate you. I know I've been harsh, but I do, because I could literally see you going back and forth, listening to the community, listening to the other commissioners and saying, well, that doesn't make sense. Oh, well, and you were kind of back and forth, but that's a good thing because you're taking it in. You don't already have your mind made. You're not sitting up there like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to do this anyway. You're actually listening to the community. So I appreciate you for that. And for, and for taking all of our concerns in and actually listening to the community, as well as the other commissioners as well. But I must say, I am still very confused because I do not understand, outside of the training, which our council members don't even get before they become council members, I don't understand. Nobody has said a good reason for the pause. I know, Ms. Taylor, you said, okay, well, we're doing stuff in the background. Y'all gonna do that anyway. You're saying, oh, okay, well, there's nothing to be reported out, so what's the point for these meetings? Because the community members have concerns. Because when I came up here initially, I didn't think we was gonna be sitting here talking about all this for heck of long. I was wanting to talk about homeless people being swept from street corner to street corner, because I come here for that, to advocate for homeless folks that don't have a voice, and I'm the voice, or at least I try to be the voice for them. So it's like I said before to the council, it's not just about the commissioners, it's about the community that have concerns and that have been traumatized and want to express their concerns. I like to hear Chief Vigil, what he says as far as his reports. I missed it a little while ago, but I like to hear those reports. So it's not just about you and what you have to report out. I think that you're missing the point that this is what the community fought for. So we have a right to come here and speak and talk about our grievances. I just do not understand, and no one has made it clear to me. I don't know about anyone else in the community. Nobody has made it clear to me outside of training why we need to have a pause.
Are we discussing the ordinance?
We discussing whatever, yes, the ordinance too.
Okay,
because
just
you mentioned
making
because you cut me off, but you mentioned the ordinance and you were wrong about the ordinance, because I know last city council meeting, what I saw was they spoke about the ordinance, brought it to city staff. Nothing was discussed on it outside of it going to city staff and coming back later. So that had nothing to do with this. So that excuse as far as the ordinance makes no sense.
I'm just saying that's the agenda
okay, well,
item that
are
we're
you
on.
speaking while I'm speaking
That's
during my
the
time?
agenda item
Can
that
I
we're
reclaim
on.
my time? Can I get 10
If
more
you're gonna
seconds?
public comment,
I reclaim my time.
please
Can I
stay on
do 10
the
more
agenda
10 more
item.
seconds, please? 10 more seconds, please.
If you're gonna comment,
I need to
please stay
reclaim
on the
my
agenda
time.
item.
I need to reclaim my time. 10 more minutes, please. 10 more seconds, please. Ten more seconds, please. You cut me off multiple times.
Please speak on the agenda item, which is the ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
You can
10
have
more
your
seconds, please.
You can have your 10
10 more
seconds.
seconds, please. You can go back and forth with me
Or
forever,
maybe you
Portia.
can't.
10 more seconds, please.
Who's next?
10 more seconds, please. I reclaim my time.
Is there any other public comment?
10 more seconds, please. I'm reclaiming my time.
Go ahead. You have 4 seconds.
Okay.
10 more seconds, please. I'm reclaiming my time. Or I'll just speak for those 10 more seconds.
We give Nicole her 10 seconds
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Nicole. Thank you for your words. We can talk later.
So you're taking away my 10 seconds that the chairperson interrupted?
It wasn't.
Your seconds weren't interrupted. I asked you to stay on topic. When I tried to give you your 10 seconds back, you continue to talk over
No,
me.
you didn't. You said 4 seconds.
So we're going to move forward.
So like I said, the ordinance, you were wrong about the ordinance. You were. I didn't even want to get back and forth. You were wrong about the ordinance. And like I said, what is the reason for this pause? No one has made it clear. I think that was about 10 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gardner.
You're very welcome. Do we have other public comment?
Yes, next speaker is LaShonda McDowell.
Hi, I actually wanted clarification on what was going on with the ordinance from the city attorney. You said that the council members voted to have the ordinance changed, but can you explain the process again? And then I also wanted to ask about, are these two separate things? You said there's a pause, but then you also said that we're discussing changing the meetings to one meeting, but these are two separate things, right? Okay, so the pause and the changing to one meeting, two separate issues. Okay, are you able to answer and explain what's going on with the ordinance again? City council basically, you said they voted to have it amended, but once they come back with your when you come back with your recommendations, they get to vote on it, or how does that work? Oh, it was the city attorney who? Okay, so how does that work with the city council? He's gonna give the recommendations. Does the city council then vote on what he does, or how does that work? Does the commissioners get to vote on what he recommends before it goes to city council?
Do you want to use your time first, or do you want me to lean into the staff?
I want you to answer the question.
Go ahead.
I actually believe that the proper, okay, I want to make sure the clock has been paused. The proper way to handle this would be, that question can be asked after public comment is over, or that question can be answered after public comment is over. If the council would like to take the question and address it to me, that would be the proper way of doing it. But it would not be proper to pause public comment in order to just address one question that was asked.
Okay.
Want to continue, or?
No, I couldn't give up my time. I just wanted those questions answered.
Thank you. Is there other public comment?
Yeah, Andrew Becker.
Thank you. So, point of order, I believe that all of us really need to read up on our Robert's Rules of Order here, both commission and staff and community members. For a previous speaker, the clock did continue to run as the commissioner interjected. It is your right to gavel somebody down and to bring them back on topic. I believe that the comment was vague enough that it could have fallen under the ordinance, because under the ordinance or amendments to an ordinance, meeting times, process, procedure is a part of that comment. So I believe that that does fall under that. And I don't believe that it's ethical for commissioners to direct comments, public comments to staff. So I don't want to put my personal opinions in here. I just believe that this is a place of government and we need to stick to the Roberts Rules of Order, Brown Act, and such laws. So I appreciate Assistant City Attorney, community members for coming up and speaking, but we really need to stay within those parameters. Thank you.
I'm not seeing any more public comments for this item.
Thank you. And good point, hence the fact why more training is needed. So in regards to the question that was set forth from public comment on the ordinance and what occurred at the last city council meeting, City Attorney, would you like to please explain that again for community members?
What I can explain is that at the last city council meeting, city council directed staff to work on an amendment to the ordinance. That will be presented at some point at a future city council meeting to the city council, at which point there will be it'll be a notice public hearing. So it'll be following the public hearing rules. The community will have the chance to, the standard procedure is there'll be a proponent and opponent to the ordinance. There will be public comment which has some extended timeframes for public comment, unless, of course, the council decides to change that. At that point, then the city council, not the commission, will make a vote as to either make a vote on the ordinance presented or direct council to make further amendments. Those would be kind of the next steps that would come in the process.
Thank you. So basically, as city attorney and staff develop proposed set amendments, they will then go to council at a general council meeting that will be presented. There will be public comment from all of us, I assume, and community members. And then a vote maybe will occur at that time or whatever the council decides in regards to those proposed amendments, correct?
That would be the procedure, yes.
Okay. In light of what community said, just want to highlight, because I know community is requesting that we take a stand and we stop council from doing this legally. We do not have that power, correct?
The council is the body that has the power to change the ordinance.
So what we will say, or what I will say as the chair, in speaking to us putting our big girl panties on, our big girl bloomers on, is that the same way y'all show up here tonight, we all show up at city council as they propose these amendments. This agenda item was actually placed here so that we as commissioners could discuss what we did and did not want changed, so that we can come and present our own recommendations as a body to make sure that our ordinance did stay strong. And so we can take the time to do that now that public comment is done. Public comment is over. Mm-hmm.
Well, the only thing that I ask, the only question I have is, how did we get here? Did we get here by the mayor?
Correct.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what is the purpose of changing the ordinance?
If I
That's
answer,
not clear.
If I answer in full transparency, if I answer in full transparency, I believe that at City Council, when the council as a body thought that they could pause us and realized that they could not, there was staff guidance as to the options that they could take, and one of those options was an amendment to the ordinance. And so that, in short, is how we got here. And I do believe, as some community members mentioned, that that the independence that we have currently may not be ideal for council, certain council.
So the way I see this, we as a commission can vote to take a pause or not take a pause.
We're not talking
So-
about the pause anymore.
Right.
Correct.
But the mayor can recommend to the staff to include that city council can vote that we be put on a pause.
Essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, city
Well, 5
attorney.
years after DOJ agreement ends.
Well, what they
and-
can do is change the ordinance or request the amendments from city attorney who's drafting the amendments, that we remove the independence that we have now. However, we do need to remember that we do have original authors on the council, like Councilwoman Tamisha Torres Walker, that, rallied for this commission, and I do not foresee her going into a space and trying to, so we have strengths in the area of keeping this in the way that it was originally written, and I think, they'll work together. I think it's also just very important that we as commissioners know what our ordinance says, know what we like about it, know what we do not like about it, and that we speak to that as these decisions are being made. We are the commissioners. This is the ordinance that we have to follow, that we all, for the most part, have been following for the last year. And as it may potentially be amended, we should definitely be vocal in the process. And that's really why this is agendized this evening.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to ask, can we just do a 10-minute recess? Like, I just.
If somebody would like to make a motion for a recess, and there's a second, then there can be a vote on it.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to do a 10-minute recess. We would come back at 8:04.
Is there a second?
Second.
Lord, if I'd have abstained, y'all been mad at me.
Motion to take a recess until 8:04 passes 4-0.
Okay, calling the Antioch Police Oversight Commission meeting back to order at 8:06 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Lacey Oha,
Present.
Commissioner Hadden,
Present.
Vice Chair Williams,
Present.
Chair Taylor.
Present.
We have a quorum with all present.
Okay, so we are continuing the discussion on item 4-3, the commission's ordinance. As we were discussing, community definitely shared their insight. Thank you to the city attorney for sharing the knowledge that he had. Does any of the commissioners have any other statements they would like to make in regards to the strength and or areas that they consider to be lacking in our ordinance?
I just think that if we want to keep some agency over this commission, we have to make sure that the ordinance is strong and set a definite number of requirements to meet. Also, how many meetings we can miss without excusal, and also I think that's what I can say. Yeah.
You said you want to keep that because it's already there.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we strengthen that a bit. We have a set number of how many meetings we can miss without excusal. And should there be notification, should it trickle down the chain of command, city manager, city attorney,
And
chair.
also sick leave.
And sick leave. And also, I wanted to look at 4-3108, the budget, because I know that we're going to have trainings coming up, and are those trainings going to need to be expended? How much money we will need to accrue for that. Also, our work here is...
You want to have that, I'm trying to make sure I understand how that, are you asking how much you want, how much money it's going to cost? Are you saying that it should be placed in the ordinance?
It should be something that's looked at, and it should be placed in the ordinance for the amount of trainings that we're going to have.
Like you want a set amount placed in the ordinance? Like a
With the
minimum?
consideration of council, yeah.
Okay.
Also, we should look into having alternates for when we cannot be here. I think that having a quorum is very essential to like the work we do. I mean, we need to make sure that we have an ordinance, to Commissioner Lacey Oha's point, that we miss a lot of meetings, and those alternates should also have proper understanding of what we do here, not just decisions that they would make on behalf of our, like, moving forward. They should have, like, if we want alternates,
They should be trained?
they should be trained.
Mhm.
Okay. I think that's it from me. Did I miss anything that I can think of? Okay.
Commissioner Hadden?
Thank you, Commissioner Chair Williams, Vice Chair Williams.
Taylor?
Who's the Vice Chair?
Oh, I thought I called your name. I know, I thought I called your name. Oh, she was thanking you for your speech. Okay.
Okay, so I do appreciate that. And since we are considering having alternates, I guess we can also consider that people will be sick. So that's why the
Amen.
alternates are there. As former Commissioner May mentioned, I was very ill. If I'm not well enough to show up to work, I'm not going to show up here. I'm not going to die to come to these meetings just because you want people to be here when they can't be here. So I do agree about sick leave. If you wanted it, I had a medical note. Nobody asked me for it. But I am still here. I'm back and I'm better. Thanks for asking. But I think that the alternates are a great thing to do. I think all the commissions that I work with in my city have alternates, so that's a great idea. Also, as far as the budget and training, that's awesome as well. So I think that that should be addressed. And I think that that's something that we can be working on in the meantime as we move forward, rather than taking a pause, is working on that, trying to figure out what trainings we can do right now, because I don't feel like it's fair that new people get better training than we've already had.
I
We should
agree.
be able to train them on what to do, so they shouldn't be able to come in and get the better training, and then we're catching up to them. There's probably a couple other things in here. I scratched my cornea, I can barely see, so I didn't get a chance to read through it all. But I may have more to say on it later, or possibly show up at a council meeting.
Commissioner All.
I just wanted to continue where Commissioner Williams, Vice Chair, left off. And it is regarding the training. I believe that training needs to be offered within a 12-month period, within 12 months, not a year and a half, 14, 16 months later, 2 years later. Also, I believe that compensation, there should be some type of compensation if we are driving around to these different community engagement events. I just believe that it's only right that we be
I agree.
compensated for something, you know, for our time and our effort. And that's about it. That's all I have. There was something else I wanted to add, but that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lacey Oha. I do have a recommendation. If this is the right time to talk about, if we were looking at compensation for our time here and the work that we do on the side, would that be retroactive to people who were here already? And also, I mean, I feel like the work that we're doing is essential. So like, we no longer have 3 commissioners, like they should be compensated for that. I'm just saying, for the work. Also, what would the recommendation be for compensation? Does anyone have any ideas for discussion on that?
I think right now, if we were just discussing what would be added in the ordinance, that would be like a blanket statement, right? Like maybe commissioners receiving a stipend, or however we decided to word that. And if that happened to be approved, then, you know, further discussion in regards to the amounts or what that stipend looked like.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, stipend would be great. I don't think we should get like an hourly rate or like a salary rate. I think that it should be reflective of council. And then this opens the question, if there's this commission getting paid, do other commissions get paid? So we have to take that into consideration as well.
Or council does.
Or council does, yeah, thank you.
Okay. With that being said, is this something that we want to place on standby for further discussion? Table it? Or are we okay to just move forward? I think we should table it just based on the fact that we have heavy suggestions or recommendations. And maybe we can do something like table it and come back with a recommendation report.
I would like to make a motion to table this item, a discussion about the ordinance being amended.
That works.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion to table the ordinance review is tabled for, passes 4-0.
Okay, public comment?
Yes, first one we have is Leslie May.
I am coming to before you because I feel that, especially since these trials, I would hope that you might put that in to your next thing, that, or even if we don't, I'm hoping that at least one commissioner can get to a trial of these police officers, at least one time, to show our face there. I think it's very important. I'm still saying our because in my heart I'm a commissioner. I don't give a damn about what these people say. Furthermore, I want to ask you to demand a public apology and a written apology from the Antioch Police Department. Now, Interim Chief Vigil was not here, neither was Addington, so they shouldn't be the ones writing in I want to see a public apology to us as community members for the harm and the damage that these officers did do to us, and deliberate. And so I can't even think of where I'll just say vulgar harm. If you read about this officer who's now looking at 30 years in federal time. And so, and if he had got charged with the last count, he would have got more time. But we're looking at 30 years that he can do at Club Fed. And it's not going to be that club for police officers. But I think we need to demand that they give us apology. APOA is going to do it. And when they give the written apology and the verbal apology, I would like to see it published in the East Bay Times, San Francisco Chronicle, not a blog site. I want them to come here to this commission, send a representative to apologize. I would like that agendized so that we as a community can pack this place to hear it. I want genuine. I don't want to hear, oh, we sorry. No, that's not sorry. Or sorry. No, that's not good enough. So that's what I would like to see here in our community, so that that's somewhat of a beginning of a healing. Because we still got other officers that are going to trial, and there's going to be more indictments of a lot of people. And when we see all these people, a lot of community members are going to be shocked. Like, oh my God, well, we told you so. Okay, so I just want to see that because, you know, we've suffered a lot. I thank God I didn't personally, but I did personally because there's dear friends of mine. Some people I call my sister, Miss Wade. There's a lot of people out here that have suffered just immensely from this. So that is what I'd like to see. Thank you.
Next speaker is Gavin Payton.
Hello. I think this is my second time being here. I would like to first personally thank Chairman Portia Taylor for coming out to our resolution meeting and helping us tackle some of the issues that are facing in our community. And I'd also like to personally thank Vice Chair Devin Williams because he's been an outstanding person who's always had the youth council's back and speaking up and fighting with us. I would like to say for the commissioners that are on here still and the ones that are no longer here, that you guys have done and are still doing phenomenal work. And I encourage you guys to continue to fight because this is not new. It's the same playbook. It's the same Jim Crow playbook. It's the still racist cards they playing. Ain't nothing new. All this is just new faces. Same game, new faces. Same guards. And also, again, I would like to iterate that it was the East County NAACP Youth Council that was in the meeting process when we were selecting the people to be up on this dais. Right. So I'm really confused on some of the things that are going on City Council, just like you are, but do guarantee that if they do go to a certain limit, we will be stepping in. They will not have no say, no, and we will not be meeting. It's going to be nothing but action and answers. And I do agree with a public apology, which we've been asking for a long time ago. When we first came here, we asked for a public apology. In fact, we asked them for particularly to apologize to the youth that they was attacking in the first place. The ones that they was killing in the first place. And if we're going to talk about funding, let's actually address the elephant in the room. Let's apply that to a youth scholarship or something. Let's put it to youth education. Let's actually put it into a healthcare system. Let's put it for transportation to go to the hospital instead of just calling the ambulance. Thank you.
Next speaker, Tiki Flo.
Okay, I feel like I've been up here a lot. Again, I apologize. My passion be so, and so I get loud. So that's why I'm not an elected official. So thank y'all again for sitting up there. Thank y'all for explaining what I. So although they can't do whatever, or they can write the ordinance, I guess what I'm asking for us to do is to fight for what's right. So if it's, because to me, the ordinance doesn't have any discrepancy, so I don't feel like they, but it's public comment. The police officers now, so I've spoken with a few people in the community who have been affected by the police officers, and some of them have moved away. They don't feel safe in Antioch, so they're gone. And then some of them is not like Miss Wade, who will come and relive their trauma time after time after time after time again. So they're counting on me and us or whatever to make sure that their voices are being heard. So yeah, what I'm hearing is the work's not done. Some, wish he could have got a little more time, I leave that up to the judge. But yeah, so those just some of the things that I've heard from the community members that have experienced the bias and the discrimination and the beatings. I've actually talked to somebody who was beaten. Then it was something else. Oh yes, we have asked for a public apology. So we're gonna stand here, we're gonna ask again for a public apology from Antioch Police Department, from the union, from our city council. Although Thorpe and Monica and Ms. Walker, they all acknowledged it, but we have 3 new councils who want us to move from the past and into the future. But I would also like for them to give a public apology and to ensure that our new city manager could work with the council so things won't get swept under the rug when something do come along with our new police officers. Although I'm going to try to put my faith in the new police officers and the new trainings. I'm not going to go in with any kind of bias. So that's on me. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Nicole? And then after Nicole will be Andrew.
Hello again. Yeah, so I feel like I'm like bipolar dealing with the police department right now because of the fact that we can't forget about what they did. And like someone else said, it is like re-traumatizing every single time you see stuff on the news, every single time you've seen what happened in the courts today and just recently. And it is really just re-traumatizing. And it makes it so that like I'm one to come here, and I was really upset about the pause at first, because I'm like, hold on, I thought we was gonna do something with the youth and community engagement. They're gonna be out of school by then. So I was upset because of the pause, but then it's like, damn, do you really want to do something with the police after that? So it's just about rebuilding that trust. And one thing that I will say though is that I've had issues with APD for a really long time, especially when it comes to unhoused sweeps, and we're still having some of those issues right now. But I must say that even speaking with the new chief, with V Hill, and even with Addington, like, I'm really finally starting to have some type of trust when it comes to our police department, and trying to be as optimistic as possible with the new department and the officers that are in there. So I don't want to be too hard on them. I do just because of what did happen, and we don't want to forget what happened. I do agree that they do need to issue a public apology to the community, but I do want to move forward. I do want to do a lot of community engagement things. Me and the chief were just having conversations just a little bit ago about trying to figure out how we can deal with the unhoused community, and and he totally understands that we are lacking resources, and, just engaging with him like that. I just think it's just positive. So I don't want to be too hard on them, but we have a lot of work to do, and I am optimistic, hoping that this commission, along with the community, along with the chief and the community members, hopefully we can just try to figure some things out. And I know it gets a little hectic in here. People are passionate, but when it really boils down to it, I just really hope that we can all work together and do what's best for the community. You'll just listen to us, and, we'll listen to you, and I'm just hoping this all works out, because Antioch deserves it. We've been through a lot, and we deserve a commission that listens, and hopefully you guys will listen to us. Thank you.
Andrea Becker?
Thank you. I just wanted to quickly speak on some of the policing needs in our community. Our city has a robust commercial regional presence here in the city. We have a lot of shopping centers. When we look at the city's needs from the police department, there's a lot of blight, there is a lot of vandalism, there's a lot of transiency, there's a lot of retail theft, personal theft, attacks on individuals. And the police department works very hard to meet the community's needs, but we all understand the staffing levels and what the numbers look like in our city. So I would like to see this body recommend to council and work with the police department to look at the viability and fiscal impact of a special police district, specifically targeting those commercial regional centers, engaging with the business owners to understand what their commitment financially might be to meeting those needs. At City Council, we had property management staff from the Rayleigh Shopping Center come to this city and request that the city help to address some of the problems that they're having on site. I think when crime reaches a certain level, a security guard is not going to be able to deter or manage that criminal activity or element on site anymore. It's going to come from either a sworn or unsworn entity that represents the city. And so, looking at the police department as a whole and their needs, I would suggest engaging with these regional commercial centers to look at, I wouldn't call them substations. I would say that there are a lot of vacant spaces there that have been vacant historically for years. I believe that in lieu of one small flex space and rent, an owner or an operator of these properties would be open to having police presence, a city presence on site, which also creates additional resources for the patrol officers out in the community. If they want to take a break or if they need to use administrative space, they don't have to come back to either one or two spaces within the city. And then creating potentially that special police district to meet those call responses from those properties helps to alleviate the heavy backlog of calls that the department is already managing. So it all starts with financial understanding, right, fiscal understanding, but I believe that we have a large enough commercial presence that a special police district mimicking San Francisco special district that no longer exists might be possible for our city. Thank you.
Erica Ralston?
Okay, so again, as a community, we are passionate because having this APOC committee is very important to us. But as a committee too, like I said, I've been dealing with Antioch since 1995. So I saw how it used to be before, during, and after. Hopefully we're not going back, we're going forward. But being that said, we as a community, I live here, I pay taxes. And one of the things that I like to see is you as a community, you guys need to be fighting to get the money back that we've been paying these officers who've been sitting on their butts while they've been fighting, getting paid on administrative leave. Money that's taxes that we as community members pay, okay? Our taxes are not getting lower, they're getting higher thanks to certain people into play that are now leading our wonderful United States. And second of all, we need to get that back. The second part to this is, like we said, and I'm going to say what another community member said, we have officers that are going to court every day. You all as community, you all as the committee need to be going there and showing your faces and say, we are Antioch, we're strong, but we need to change. That way, instead of seeing the negative, they say, oh, that APOC, they're behind that. They won't change, okay? And then last part about this, when you say, Chairperson Taylor, that we need to come to these meetings, I've been here for 13 years. For 13 years, I've been coming to city council meetings. Since the very beginning when you guys had that APOC from day one, I've been coming to these meetings. So how dare you sit up here and insult us as a community saying that we don't come to it? Most of the time we come to this meeting, I'm probably the only person here besides Portia, besides Tiki sitting here. In the city council meeting, yeah, now because we got certain people that are the mayor, everybody wants to run to the meetings. But before, it was crickets. Same thing here. The only person that was making comments was myself and Tiki, because we were the only people that was coming to most of the times meeting besides that young gentleman back there. So don't sit there and insult us and say that we need to come when we are coming. And I have been here. So when you say that, that's basically spitting on the community. So please don't say comments like that, because see, that'll get back on you. Thank you.
I do not see any more speakers for this.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to our ad hoc committee report out. I guess that's us.
So for the last 2 months, starting in January, Chair Taylor and myself have participated in a series of meetings on Thursdays at 10 a.m. to rewrite the policy handbook with Lexipol and APD. It has been a very thorough study of what best practices we believe as a commission should be implemented into this policy. Many of you know that we cannot change state and federal law, but we are making recommendations for our city. So far, we've covered almost 60-something policies.
Looking at 2 months worth, and then some missed meetings in 60 to 70.
Yeah, and so we won't be meeting this week, but we'll be meeting next Thursday at 10 a.m. It's been very interesting on learning about policies and things like that. So I'll let Chair Taylor add anything she would like. I think that's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah, I think when we took on the task of, which was a win for the Antioch Police Oversight Commission, I think we all celebrated when we found out that we would have the ability to rewrite the entire Antioch Police Oversight Handbook. I myself have policy experience. I write law policy at the state level, and I have been doing so for quite a few years. And Vice Chair Taylor has been right beside me. Oh, Lord knows. I'm sorry, I'm tired, y'all. For those of y'all that don't know, I lost another sibling on Saturday, and so, I'm tired. But Vice Chair Williams has been right beside me during the process, and it's been daunting. It's heavy work. We're covering 10 policies per week. We go into these spaces with several officers who have been amazing, non-biased in working with us. If we have ran into issues, we express it. It gets fixed immediately. And just making sure, as Commissioner Williams said, that as we go through the policies, there are areas that are federal mandates, state mandates, and then best practices. And those are the areas that we are focusing on because we have the ability to make changes to those areas. And we are not silent when it's time for those areas to be changed. So this handbook will fit what we believe Antioch's community is looking for. And then I do want to just also add that we are halfway through. So the policy handbook is halfway through being completed with several sections already about to be or prepared to be implemented into the policy book. And that as we finish it, a lot of times with people who do not write policy, they don't know the important part is implementation. So after we write it, making sure that it's implemented well and that the officers are following it will become our duty. And so that's all I have. We don't have other ad hocs, huh? Yeah, so do you guys want to add anything? I know we don't have the other ad hocs yet. Commissioner or Haddon? That's a no. Okay, so we can move on to upcoming and future agenda items.
I would like to see that we have that we get the alternates. How would those be decided? Should that go? I mean, it will go through council, but how soon should we have those? I think because we're getting new seats, positioned. I think that should happen accordingly, let's get some people here. Also, I talked about the discussion about the budget and also compensation for past and present commissioners. Our other commissions in the city, we should definitely discuss them getting compensated as well. I think that's all I got that I can think of.
Commissioner Haddon? Oh, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm.
Again, going back to alternates, everyone here can see that myself and OHA are not doing anything, so I would just hope that we get a chance to do something before we have new people come in and start doing things, because it would be, I understand ad hocs, understand what you're doing, also have policy experience. It'd have been nice if we all had a chance to do something with, I'm not sure if you want to do anything with that, but if we all had a chance to work on the handbook, as opposed to just the two of you, like you mentioned earlier, the two of you only went to NACOL and the rest of us, I guess we just don't need any training. So, yeah, to be more involved in some of that, because as everyone can tell, I usually vote differently. I don't feel a part of anything here. But I do have the knowledge to help along with some of those other things that you all are saying, that maybe we should step back once a month because we're doing so much. There are some other people on the commission here.
Just let me add that what I am trying to understand is we were all working together, sort of, when we were meeting with the acting chief, the acting chief Vigil and Addison at the time. So what's different now? Is it that, I don't know how the words to put it, but I agree with Commissioner Hatt, and we all should be involved in this.
Are you asking why only myself and Chair,
Yes.
Vice Chair Williams?
Yes.
That actually, there's stakeholders in the room, and I was actually the stakeholder. I just invited Vice Chair Williams to be in the space because I thought that he could learn from the policy experience. So in our ordinance, we have 6 specific policies that we cover, which you all will be a part of the policy writing process. And at any time that you felt that you wanted to go through any policy, because it is within our scope, please do and share it with us, and we will share it with the working group.
Okay. Well, let me say again, we are a team.
Absolutely.
You know, we are commissioned, but we should be working together as a team. So I just ask that in the future, when something comes up like that, extend the invitation to all of us.
I did not make the decision.
You didn't make the decision for the, to meet with the stakeholders?
I did not.
Okay,
I was assigned.
he was assigned.
There.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I will also add that, hey, Susan, I saw your hand. Go ahead.
It is not public comment.
Oh, it's not public
Devin.
comment, but
Sorry, Susan.
yeah, we just can't break the Roberts rules. I will say that since we have taken on this task of meeting every week to rewrite the policy ordinance, yes, I don't have the best experience with law and things like that, but I have been learning a lot, and I always Chair Taylor and I have a working document where she will go and review, like, hey, this is not what we're supposed to be doing, because I do ask questions. I ask lots of questions. I make sure that what we can recommend and amend is the proper thing.
We
So
wanna
there's
get
no
back to the agenda,
overstepping.
too.
Yeah, I'll carry it that way. Commissioner Haddon did say something that was a little bit that raised a red flag for me, that you don't feel like you're a part of the commission, and you were gone for so long, and we did not hear from you. That's just. I
We all
asked,
checked on you.
I sent you emails and things. I just want to be
Mm-hmm.
clear that we did check on you and the other commissioners that were not showing up to the meetings, and I'm glad that you're okay. I just want to say that we want you to be a part of this, and I feel like you're sitting at the other end of the dais here. Doesn't really show that on your side.
I'm not feeling well.
Okay, that's fine.
They understand that, and then I understand that you just recently started texting me.
Mhm.
They know I don't have access to my email, but you have my number. So I'm just saying, that's great that you're texting me now,
Mhm.
but no, that did not happen. So if you tried to get it through me,
Oh,
I'm sorry,
Mike,
Commissioner,
sorry.
your microphone's not on.
if you tried to get through to me through the email, it wasn't getting through. So I'm just saying, like, me, if I don't get through to you the email, I'm gonna call you if I have your information. So that's why I'm saying. that-
Great.
that-
I just
that
wanted
is-
to publicly
that's-
clear
that's
that
how
up.
So moving forward as a commission.
Thank you.
we will
I didn't
do
want to
that.
put you on. I just
Can
wanted
we
to
get
make
back to
sure the
setting
public
the
knew that we were
agenda?
trying to make sure that we were,
Yeah, and just let me add
in line
that
with
I
each other.
know Commissioner Haddon has an email, because I have reached out, she's a member of the NAACP, I have reached out to her before. So if anybody really wanted to get in contact with her, there's an email address out there.
Are we setting the agenda?
No, we're not. I just
Exactly.
I just had to put that out.
Kind of lost here.
I
All
just
right.
don't think it's right
So
to
currently
bring
I
that up.
have alternates, I have compensation. Do you have anything? You said no. Okay. So for upcoming agenda items, do we normally have public comment for this, city attorney?
If it is an agenda item, there can be public comment.
Okay, I'll do it at the end. For Chief Vigil, if we can get the report out on complaints. No, ma'am, that is an agenda item that I'm asking him for. Yes,
No, I believe that
I'm on number 7.
The Chair Taylor was asking Chief Vigil for something that's going to be put onto a future agenda.
Okay. And does anyone else have any other suggestions? No? Okay. Public comment?
Nicole, and then after Nicole will be Andrew.
Yeah, so I was a little confused by that too. I'm glad you even asked the question because one, I didn't realize that the commission, like your commission was over just writing the handbook for APD. So now I'm like, okay, that's great. But then I was like, only 2 of y'all? Like the whole commission? Why isn't the whole commission involved with this important task? So I'm glad that you brought that up. Regardless of if you were sick or whatever, when you came back, whatever the situation was, I think that you still have should have been a part of the conversation as well as you, Ms. Oha. Also, for future agenda items, I know a lot of people in the community have said, like, this commission is a waste of time. What are they doing? I mean, we have been talking about ad hoc committees since you guys started. And now I was even surprised that someone said it's a year. I'm like, what are we doing with these ad hoc committees? So I'm hoping that will come back, something like that as far as the community engagement. And there's a bunch of different other ones. I think you guys had like 7 or 8 committees or something. It seems like you guys aren't meeting in the background. None of that is going on outside of what the 2 of you are doing on this policy that's just decision making up to, with you. So yeah, I do think that we do need to do that. And like I said, again, community engagement. I would love to see something like that come back. I think that is all I have on that. Yeah, that's all I have on that. Thanks.
Andrew?
Thank you. I just wanted to say, as a community member, it is frustrating sitting here listening to these conversations go back and forth. Once again, if we look at the Brown Act, a subcommittee, an ad hoc subcommittee, you are a body that is still bound by the Brown Act. So as you as a force sit here and talk about why can't we all work on this ad hoc work, that's a Brown Act violation. You cannot meet unless you are in a public setting that has been noticed and the community has a chance to attend. It's difficult for 2 commissioners to communicate with other commissioners on the work that happens within that ad hoc outside of this meeting, because that also is a Brown Act violation. So literally, when you look at the agenda and you say, report out from ad hoc committee, that is the time for a thorough report out. It doesn't need to be 20 seconds. It could be 20 minutes if there's a good amount of work that's being done, presented to the body as a whole. And then that is your time as a body to respond, give feedback and direction in a public setting that the community has a chance to attend, and move direction for that ad hoc subcommittee. Now, to the last speaker's point, if this ad hoc has gone on, I haven't followed, but if it has gone on for a year, at some point, it is on the committee to move that ad hoc to a standing committee and sunset that ad hoc, which once again brings the full body together, or not the full body, the body within that subcommittee, within a public hearing, and community members can come and attend and voice their input, just as Councilmember Torres Walker has done previously. So for all of the individuals that understand policy, I would start with the Brown Act, Robert's Rules of Order, because there is a process. And when you sit up there and you make comments, there are cameras here that people across this city, across this region, and as people have said here tonight, across this nation potentially are watching. They don't all understand what the Brown Act is, but it's your responsibility to. if you feel that the ad hoc is not meeting the work that it was bound to do, this is your setting. You cannot legally, as a quorum, meet outside of a public setting. And when I say meet, I mean, you can't even call each other and talk about it. Thank you.
I'm seeing Leslie May. And then after Leslie will be Gavin.
So what I would like to see is that for the next meeting that you do decide whether to change these two standing committees, because there is community engagement to be done. There is internal affairs work to be done, policing. There is a lot of things that these ad hoc committees were, ad hocs were, that now should be standing committees, and that way these two commissioners can also be working on those things while you two are working on the, with Lexipol, rewriting this handbook, I'll call it. So I think this is very important because they both deserve a chance to feel like they're actually doing something here, other than just coming to meetings. So I would hope that you would put it on the next agenda to take a vote on changing them to what I believe is called steering committees, standing committees. These other ad hocs, because we're looking at, this is March, Easter's next month. A lot of people do things, might be a church, could be APD is going to be doing something. They could be organizing with them. There's people have come to me about doing fashion show. Lady was talking about, well, I would love to do a fashion show where we have the children and then have giveaways, prizes of maybe a few different outfits. Another, she said, and also adult fashion show. And I said, yeah, because they don't never do that anymore. Somebody else came back, widow and widowers luncheon for the people in Antioch. That could be something they could work with the APD on, because we're supposed to be working with them. Another one is parents, mothers and fathers of victims here in Antioch, to have a luncheon for them. This is the time of year when those things happen. And we just keep going on and on and on. We're gonna miss the boat. The weather's changed, it's getting ready to be nice. Juneteenth is coming up. There's a bunny hop coming up on April 19th with Sutter and Antioch Rotary Club, and I think one of the council members is going to be there, Monica Wilson. Okay. So there's a lot of things coming up that we need to be involved in, engaged in the community with Antioch Police Department, so they can see, because if they see us out there and other people like Reimagine Antioch groups, other groups, like we're all out here, see, we're trying to heal. It does help. So there is work to be done for these two other commissioners. Thank you.
Gavin? And then, yes, after you.
Hi, so I'm gonna ask this again. I've came and multiple times I've asked and asked and asked again, but I've asked city council, asked school board, now I'm asking you guys. So when you guys have committees and stuff like that, is it possible to add youth that are from these schools and from especially the middle school or high school students and the college students that live here and go to school here, because they're the ones being affected. They're the ones that are being gunned down, beaten, and being targeted and harassed, being called gorillas, getting the N-word thrown at them. It's a scary time for youth, especially our African-American males that are here. Let's not forget how old Tamir Rice was. Let's not forget how old he was. Wasn't he like 12 years old? wouldn't it be a great idea to have a youth that is probably sitting up here or giving you guys a report of like what they need to see change in their schools? Because you're not going to get it years later because it's different now. We need to start at the root of the issue, and that is by going to the schools and going to the youth where they're actually being targeted and attacked, because they're the ones on social media seeing their uncle or cousin or family member getting beat up, killed, shot at, pulled over, harassed, and all kind of crazy stuff. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. But what we can do is make it right and add them in the conversations where they do need to be added. So not only as council, but I feel like it's everyone's right. If you have the power to do so, let's do it. And let's inform them and educate them about it. So the youth council is also here. We would also like to see a representative from the NAACP Youth Council that is here to also be on a representation of something. Thank you.
Hi, Council. I just wanted to say, I want to reiterate what some of the people are saying. As a community member who helped vote and go through the interview process for many of you to be up here, I would hope that, one, you guys do get the training you need so that you can be effective at the task at hand of the whole premise why we needed a police oversight commission. It's also important that as you bring on new officers, which Antioch needed, that you can work together, blend together, and help the community heal. And by being out, like some of the other people mentioned, at community events, that would help the community see that the Oversight Commission is working with the new officers, but it would actually bridge, because there's a whole sex or groups of populations in Antioch that aren't touched, that aren't heard from. I'm not even sure, I haven't heard you talk about yet how you're hearing from those groups, but Gavin mentioned the youth. We forgot about the seniors. We forgot about those that are stuck in their homes, that are in communities where they're afraid to come out or they can't come out because they don't have support. And I would like to see this commission touch that. I would like to hear you have feedback from them to help continue the community healing process. You know, there's many seniors who just don't come out after dark. Once the sun goes down, they're in. And they're affected by almost everything that happened. So, just saying. Thank you.
Tiki, and then after Tiki, we'll have Susan.
Okay, really fast. That was a great idea. Yes, that is in the ordinance. So could that be on the next agenda item? How we could find the youth? I have like 3 of them in my mind, like right now. And then it was something else. Oh my gosh. Oh yes. I remember talking about integrity and morals and ethics when this commission first started, and Ms. Mahogany, she had kind of like geared that, and I thought she was, you know, something was gonna take off. I know we're living in United States and morals and integrity doesn't seem to matter, but as they stated before, people are watching Antioch. So if we could show people that morals and ethics and integrity actually still stands in Antioch, I think that would be great. So if we could bring that back, put that back on the agenda and appoint the youth. I believe it's 14 and older. That was great. That was wonderful. And if you guys need me to give you some names, I have 3.
Hello, I'm back. So just a couple things I think is important for everybody to realize as we hit this point in the discussion. A lot of great things have come up. The youth aspect. When the council was discussing the possibility of making adjustments to the ordinance, part of that discussion involved expanding some of the categories where people could serve. Not contracting it, but expanding it. The other thing I think, with all due respect, the conversation about compensation and alternates is something that's going to have to come into a revision of the ordinance. It's going to have to all be part of that process. And I think it's important for everybody to realize that regardless of whether it's Antioch or any other municipality, it is the city council that is responsible for establishing and changing ordinances, whether it's for the police commission, the planning commission, code enforcement. So all of these ideas that have come up now, these are all things that should be part of and should be then shared when that discussion takes place. And there really have been some good ideas. So I think for everybody earlier who was very opposed to any changes to the ordinance, there may actually be some very pertinent things that could make things better for everybody and could involve what people have talked about. Thank you.
Every time I come up here, I'm coming to ask questions. I'm sorry. When you guys mention having alternates, how does that work? Do the individuals pick their own alternates, or does an extra 7 commissioners go through the interview process, be chosen, and then alternate out when you guys are then absent and things of that nature? So I wanted to ask that. Then I wanted to also ask for adding to the ordinance, if you guys are going to do that, will you specify how the sick calls and how those type of things have to be handled going forward? Do you have to call in? Who do you need to make aware? Does your numbers have to be updated? Just all of those type of things should be added. What else? Future agenda items. I think that's all I had. But I did want to know how the alternates would work. Okay. How does catastrophic illness and deaths in the families work?
Any other public comment?
Seeing none.
Okay. I did, in listening to public comment, just want to highlight that we had a discussion around merging and changing our ad hocs, but we never voted on that. So our ad hocs are still currently in place, if I am not mistaken.
Yes, they are still currently exist as they do. There was a discussion a couple meetings ago, I don't remember exactly when, but there was a discussion, I believe it was tabled, but no decision was reached at that time.
Exactly. So all commissioners are able to work their ad hocs. Nothing occurred. Commissioner Haddon, you were in ad hocs. Commissioner Oha, you were in ad hocs. And those can be worked.
Okay, but let me say this. I thought that the policy manual ad hoc that I was a part of with Commissioner Williams had ended because the APD had stated they would make necessary changes, and I thought that was it for us. So,
which particular ad hoc are you referring to?
the manual, what is it?
We were doing use of force and community engagement.
Yes, use of force. And I remember being told that because the changes were going to be made with Lexapol, that the committee was no longer operating. We no longer needed to meet. So did something change that I'm not aware of?
So in particular, as mentioned earlier, those 6 policies will be pulled for us to go over, which use of force is one of them. And that can be discussed with your ad hoc
And we also, with the
person.
settlement agreement, we now have a community engagement officer that's going to come on and help us engage with community, right? So
Is that your only ad hoc?
we were on, no, we were on use of force and community engagement together. So
Because of my schedule, I could not
continue with
community
community
engagement.
engagement. No, I know.
community engagement.
Okay.
But I do remember being told that the use of force
That
ad
is
hoc
correct.
committee
You're correct.
was no longer meeting. There was no need for us to meet. So if we're supposed to be meeting now, we need to get up and running right away.
Correct. And Commissioner Haddon,
Yes, and so I abstained when you guys wanted to put everything together and was told that I wouldn't have to do anything because you guys were doing it anyway.
but we didn't vote on that. We just communicated. We voted on bringing it up for a vote, which we haven't agendized yet. So my question to you was, do you recall what ad hocs you were on prior to going out on sick leave?
Yeah, one that was contained a whole lot, and I would rather do quality than quantity. So it had internal affairs, complaints, hiring, and possibly one more thing, and then something else was added last time, which is why I abstained, because I don't feel like any one person should be doing that much, because I don't feel like we can give it give it attention, as much attention as it needs when you have that many all in one ad hoc.
Correct. I agree. In that statement, that's what we voted on when we originally put together the ad hocs, all of us. So yeah, point of the statement is that we do have ad hocs, so commissioners can continue their ad hoc duties.
Okay, so so now we're going to continue the ad hocs that was established 6 months ago, 7, 8 months ago.
Correct. We haven't dissolved them yet. We haven't
Okay.
voted on that. We're good? All right. Antioch Police Oversight Commissioner report outs. Is there any public comment? All right, cool. Report outs?
Okay, the only report out that I have is I attended the Equity Committee meeting on this morning with Supervisor Chanel Scales Preston and other stakeholders. Myself and a few others, a couple of other people from the NAACP attended that meeting, and it was very informative. Our former Supervisor Federal Glover was a part of that meeting. So those of us who were on this Zoom call meeting, it was in person and on Zoom, had questions. And the question is, how would those who have been marginalized be served? What way, how, and when? So I thought it was very informative, and I got a lot out of it. I didn't stay on for the whole entire meeting, but this is going to continue. The hubs, I don't know if we have any hubs, African American Wellness Hub set up here in Antioch yet, but one thing I can tell you that we are talking about it right now. So I ask all of you all, if you are able, please be a part of the discussion. Because my understanding was Contra Costa County has never paid close attention to those who are marginalized, those people of color who are not being served on the same capacity of people in other counties. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anything?
I don't really have a report out, but I do want to say that on February 22nd, my other hat that I wear when I'm not commissioner, we did a Ready Rep Summit, which was designed to let our community members know about natural disaster preparedness, and we will be having another one on Saturday the 29th. So I implore all of y'all to let the word get out. We'll be doing another meeting. I do want to say that this might be my only time to speak, so I do want to acknowledge the fact that there was an outpour for tonight. You know, at least 3 people talked about having a public apology. Maybe that can somehow be designed as an event through our city. Council, there's no one that should be able to bear that burden of responsibility like this happened, but I feel that that person who does take that responsibility and talks to the public and apologizes for what happened in our police department, if they can step up, that'd be great. There's nobody here in the city that deserved to have had what happened and things like that, but I do feel like that's something that should be acknowledged, and that's all I have to say. Does that follow? It's been a long day. I'm tired.
I don't have a report out. Are there any staff communications?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you. The next meeting is April 7th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Vote, yep. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn at 9:12 p.m. passes 4-0.